So we've got to the point now in terms of looking at the economy. So Warren, Anne has submitted a pre-question, and she's concerned that if Noosa de-amalgamates, there's a risk that the economic base won't be broad enough with the two-sector economy of tourism and construction. So the question to you, Warren, is do you think Noosa needs to widen and grow its economic base? If you do, then what sectors do you see as being a possibility to generate jobs in the locality? If you don't, then how will Noosa's economy stay vibrant and generate jobs for those who choose to live here?
Thank you. This is one area in which I think, by and large, Noosa is actually very similar to the rest of the coast, in that the whole coast and Noosa needs to expand the base of its economy. It needs to expand the base of its economy into the knowledge industries. The knowledge industries are the things that cover education, training, health, IT, business finance, arts and crafts, sports, all the sorts of things that you have when you grow knowledge. Knowledge is one of those resources which you don't have to cut down or dig up. You can actually grow it in your community using one of the most important things we have, and that's the intellectual capacity of the people who live here. They're the industries we need to grow, and we need modern technology to do it.
Kim, you're a small business person. What have you got to say?
Yes, absolutely. We have to diversify our economy, and there's a number of great strategies that I would like to implement, particularly the education and training. Now, I'm on the Queensland Executive Board of the Australian Council of Private Education and Training, and just 2 weeks ago I spoke with a number of training companies who train for the mines, and I've got 22 mining companies training companies that train specifically the mines that would move to the Sunshine Coast tomorrow if they knew that they had a pro-business, pro-education council and with the support of the airport to be able to fly west and north. So there are some key infrastructure factors in which we have to do it. But what people have to realise is that education, international education particularly, and that's what my business is in, so I understand this, is Australia's second greatest export market. And it's worth, it's approximately $16 billion worth to the Australian economy. International students in particular that come here for training for aviation, for university, for tertiary, for TAFE, for English, for example. These are incredibly important industries. They make our best tourists because they tend to stay on the Sunshine Coast longer. They spend an average of $1,000 a week, and they don't cancel if the weather is bad. So they actually make our best tourists. So education tourism. We've also got business tourism, and we need to have international tourism as well. So there are three main strategies that are knowledge-based, they're clean, they're green, and the flow-on effect to other businesses is extraordinary because then they're in our cafes, they're in our accommodation, they're using our transport systems, they actually contribute more to the economy, and they're essentially export markets. Okay. So it's a win-win on a number of levels.
So Brett, did you have any other strategies than what's been said?
Look, I agree with Warren and Kim nailed this every time. It's a lot of their background, so I certainly would also agree with a lot of their sentiments. One of the key things that we're talking about, some of these knowledge industries, and I'll just diverse slowly on this, or quickly, sorry, on this one, is the tourism base. Tourism is so important to Noosa. I think we need to expand that in terms of the big sport, rec, those sorts of things, and we broaden it out, particularly during the week, to do that. Going back to the knowledge industries and those sort of things, fast broadband is what we need, and I know you guys struggle up here with it. That's the commitment that I'll be making, that in the first 4 years, by hook or by crook, we will get it, whether it be NBN, satellite, I don't care what we do, we get you guys connected to the outside world so it's fast and reliable, and that'll make a lot of these things happen more quickly.
Okay, thanks. So Mark, just keeping with the economic, there's another question submitted, and it says, it's about planning and approval costs, and it says, do you propose to address delays and costs in council's planning and local law applications?
Yes, I do. I think that there has been significant interruption to potential development and private investment on the Sunshine Coast as a consequence of the red tape and the hoops that proponents have been put through. I'm aware that the current council did approve 97% of all development applications on the coast. Regrettably, by the time it got to operational approval and contributions, a lot of those projects fell over. Now, clearly a lot of them fell over because they probably were unfunded, but I'm also aware of many that fell over at a time when we desperately needed the job opportunities because of high contribution charges, such that there were really no profits available for the proponents of those projects. As a consequence, there's two key indicators on the coast that really underline our economic health. One is the decline in primary school numbers as young families move away, and number two is, if you ever go past Palm View opposite the Edamooga pub, is the lineup of utilities with tradespeople who are carpooling to go to Brisbane or further west to find work. We've got to find jobs for those people back here on the Sunshine Coast, and Council is in a lead facilitation role to prime and stimulate that market.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Michael, you got
I firmly believe that council needs reform. Whichever way you look at it, there are too many complaints about this council, about how much it charges, how difficult it is to deal with council, how difficult it is to get applications through in a timely manner. It's just legendary, some of the stories that are coming out. So I really believe it's time for a big restructure of council. It needs to be a much more customer-focused organisation, one that says, how can we help you? One that is a service provider and not a service denier. So I think whichever way you slice and dice it, that's what needs to happen. I want to see an outcome where council is serving you in a much more efficient way, and that means in terms of charging as well. I think there is such pressure on council's budget at the moment in so many ways that there is no escape from charging you the earth, and that is wrong. So we need to look for efficiencies. We need to make that council a leaner, more efficient organisation, and then perhaps we won't be in this situation where we've got to charge an arm and a leg for everything that moves.
Okay, so we'll finish off the little economic section. Just people have already voted.